It is said that every good sermon has an illustration and an application. In the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, and verses 13 and 14, Solomon gives us both of those, an illustration and an application about life. I know the whole book really is about life, but particularly here, it narrows down to some of the great things that we often ponder about our lives. In fact, in verse 13 of Ecclesiastes 7, he says, "Consider the work of God, for who can make straight what he has made crooked? In the day of prosperity, be joyful, but in the day of adversity, consider. Surely God has appointed the one as well as the other, so that man can find out nothing that will come after him." Now, when you read that text, as I mentioned a moment ago, it raises some of the great things that we ponder about our lives. But the illustration that kind of kicks the whole thing off is about, things that are straight and things that are crooked, and God made them one way, and who can undo them no matter which way they're made. And the illustration there is not so much about, straight rivers and things of that nature that man has engineering abilities to manipulate. But the idea here is that when things are the way God has made them, who are we necessarily to question them and to necessarily say that that is something that's a reflection poorly on the wisdom of God or the working of God? If God has made things the way that they are, who am I to think that I can make them better? Who am I to think that if God made it this way, that really it would be better if I were to make it the other way? And so the application of that comes next when he talks about a day of prosperity and a day of adversity. And he says, surely God has made both of those, and God has appointed both of those. And the point about that is so that man cannot find out anything that will come after him. And we come back around in a circle and we say, well, then what can we know? In fact, that text seems to be saying that we can't know anything. Really, what the text is saying is that no matter what happens to us, adversity or prosperity, straight or crooked, no matter what happens to us, we'll never know everything well enough to manage our own life, to call all the shots and make all of the decisions. Therefore, our faith, our hope, and our trust must be in God. As has often been expressed, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that need to be changed, and the wisdom to distinguish between them. God bless us in our faith as we seek that for our lives.